Okay, so you can tell by the window open, it's a little later than normal. Well, than it has been. I don't even know. What is there? Is there a normal? I don't think there's a normal. There's just to go with the flow, go with the day, do what you do when you do it. Like, and don't get caught up in schedules. So, um, 6:30, 6:31. And but last night was so motherfucking, it was so fucked. I couldn't fucking believe how fucked it was. Like, god damn. Oh shit. It was like 8:30. I was just sick of, I didn't want to look out on TikTok. Everything on the TV it was just like I just wanted to meditate. I just wanted to go into my own self. And it wasn't like I felt super, super tired, but I just wanted everything off and to just, zone out. And then, so what, hour later, I woke up and that's when it started. Fucking from 9:30 on the rest of the night. It was like once an hour. The last time, I think it was almost 3 when she went out. And it seems like she's going out to pee this time, but thank you, Amy, for sending me that information on the chaga mushroom. I ordered it, and so it should be here tomorrow. So I'm going to start it on her immediately and see. Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know if she's got some cancer growing in her. I don't know if she's got diabetes. I don't know if she's got some kidney thing going on. Like, I don't know. But, to try. Like, I can't believe the boron. It's fucking $10 stuff that they keep in the laundry department is so good for arthritis. Like, fuck, dude, it's made such a difference. But just this nonstop striking, it's non-motherfucking stop. And so, like I said yesterday, I was just fucking sick of being inside with all of the, and Stella gets really whiny. Her personality has changed as she's gotten better. It's way more like she has, this is really cool because I saw this yesterday, and this is why they want us to not, this is why they want the tribes out and the white folk in, because the white folk they've cut them off from everything. They've cut them off from who they are, their identity, their culture. They've just created this black and white world. And then plus the added thing of giving the Africans, giving these, the darker people, African American. Oh, you're African American. They're not even goddamn African. They're American. They're not even fucking American. They're whatever the fuck they were. That you came in and told them they weren't that anymore, stole their land, and then told them they had to work for you for free. That's some motherfucking bullshit, man. And they're fucking doing it. And over in Hawaii, where the chaos continues, it just gets crazier and crazier. Now they're saying there's over 1,000 kids missing. And see, this is where I think they can't hide it. Because I think there's holes in the school. Like, there's a lot of empty seats. And so it's not something that they can pretend didn't happen. And so they don't have a great cover story. It's like, some of the shit they do, I don't think that they look at it fully. That's what I heard yesterday too by this, it seemed like a military insider kind of person, the stuff he was saying. And he was saying they're just doing such chaos and doing such crazy shit because the people at the top have been taken down, and it's just these middle management who don't know what to do. And they just have an agenda they're trying to keep afloat. Like the fucking guy in Oklahoma, the school head guy, whatever they're called, I can't think of him. Everything is this government thing that we have allowed. In this one video too, it says something about we have like 4,300 counties, and every single county has been invaded. So that's what I was talking about. This is what I've been saying. People think, oh, it's way out there. No, it's in every motherfucking town. They've got their core of people running it. And then the people who get in positions are people who are a little bit questionable on the moral standard. Like, they'll do things by taking orders. Like, they're not too concerned. They're way more concerned about getting a check and being ahead of everybody else. And a lot of people don't care about stepping on other people to get where they want to get. So, Okay, now God, no wonder they kept telling me, just start, because now it's already like, because I kept going, what am I going to talk about? And it's like, fuck, now it's like a whole shit ton of shit going on in there. Okay, so one thing too, the absurdity, the comical, like, I don't get how people don't see. It's like when you're seeing from this one perspective, it really changes things. And when you think about perspective, my neighbor came out, like I went outside. I was outside and Stella was harassing me. She wanted to go out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out. Well, let's go clean up some poop. And so I went out, but it's like, it's been diarrhea, I guess, because it was like I wasn't finding a lot of but the ground, like I said, fuck, dude, it's so fucking weird. Like, it is like an ocean of pine needles. Like, my ground looks like it's deep fucking autumn. And so, and it's such a pain, but it rained the other day, so the ground was really wet. It's holding the moisture in, so it's way easier to rake it up. So I was back there raking. It's heavy too. It's like raking fucking snow. And it was, so anyways, I was back there doing that, and the neighbor came out, and the littlest one, we share a birthday. There's something to soul connections. Like, this little girl, ever since she was tiny, she has always been very, she's always looking for me. She's always saying hi to me and stuff like that. And we share a birthday. And it's like I can see her soul in there. It's like we have a soul recognition somehow. And but now she's like, she starts kindergarten, because that was one of the things they were telling me in the car when they were driving me back the other day. So I think, I guess she missed to turn 5 on her birthday. Fuck, it's weird how you lose track of shit like that. I had her back at being 3 the other day, but she's starting kindergarten, so she's 5. And so I'm over there, and they've got tons of stuff up against their side. So she's come around this tree, and she's over there, and she's, hi, Kelly. And so I'm, hi, Molly. And I said something to her, then her mom comes out, and she starts saying, who are you talking to? What are you doing? Oh my God, what are you doing? Get over here and stuff. And she keeps talking to me, and so I said hi or something, and the mom starts laughing, and she said, oh my God, I couldn't see you at all. I thought she was crazy and had gone over and was just talking to the trees. Perspective. It's all perspective. We don't see what everyone else has experienced, and we assume that we know because of our own experience. But that's why we've got to really open our minds more, broaden our perspective, look a little deeper. So it's just funny when you see those kinds of things, because it just really highlights what it is you're talking about. But so I couldn't even finish raking. Usually I would rake the whole yard, and it wouldn't take me that long. And I got up to the front part, and I'd done like half of one side, and I was just sweating. I was like, fuck, I'll just do some more tomorrow. Like, it's so fucking weird outside. This weird kind of, it was like a humid kind of weird temperature that I don't really know how to explain, because we got all these new artificial kind of things we're trying to figure out. So is there really an explanation? I don't know. The only explanation is somebody's fucking interfering, which I'll tell you another thing. Louisiana's on fire, and I just saw a guy, and he was talking, and he was like, Louisiana, my home's on fire. He said, it's not, I'm okay, my house is fine, but my home, where I'm from in Louisiana, the whole thing is on fire. And what they're saying now is that they're going to probably just have to sacrifice the whole town. They're just going to have to sacrifice it. They just can't get that fire out. So that's what I said. What have I been saying? How long have I been saying it? These rural town, like, these people, somebody the other day when they said, oh, well, I'm safe, I live rural. I just saw a fucking video where some people are off grid living, and we're burning down everything around them, and people were panicked. Like, I've said this whole fucking time, this is a time we're not going to find safeness, like, where everybody's like, well, where should I go? What should I do? How should I get there? That's not the experience we're having right now. There is not like a perfect safe place. There's going to be some safe places, but we got to get through this attack. Like, we're under attack. And, you know, these fools who sold us out, you know, are all a part of it. They're allowing this to happen because this is a takedown. They put a lot of effort into creating this black and white artificial society. They don't want to let it go. So they got to, you know, do everything they can to save it. That's not going to work because all of us are waking up and we're saying, hey, wait a minute, this isn't who I am. And, you know, some weird's going on here. But, you know, it's a process. It's definitely a process. And it's a hard process. It's, let me get a drink, hold on. Because like I said, I said we're going to see some intense shit. I said there's a lot of, you know, spiritual. Because a lot of people claim labels and they think as soon as you claim a label, you're that. I'm that. I said I was that, and that's what I am. But there's more to labels. There's more to claiming labels. There's actual practice. There's actually, you know, and the spiritual practice is, it's off from what people say. You know, yesterday I was out walking Stella. And when I'm out walking her, like there's a whole thing. Oh, yeah, because I wanted to say about the Hawaiian pet things too. Okay, so I'll add that in. So when I'm out walking her, like I said, you know, people who have certain opinions about animals or pets could look at me and think, you know, oh my God, this woman. But that's, I'm walking Stella. Like, I'm going with Stella. I'm what is that called? It's like I'm her plus one to her walk. It's her walk. It's not my walk. If it was my walk, we'd be fucking power walking and we'd get around that curve, you know, I'd be out there just walking. And I would be, you know, doing it more like an exercise, hard walking, you know, and, but that's not the kind of dog she is. That's not the kind of life she is. Like, so I go and I do hers, and her walk is, you know, it's all different all the time. Depends on what she wants to do. Except for when she keeps trying to, like over the past week and a half, she keeps trying to drag me over to the woods. I'm like, hell no. There's a big hell no there. We are not going in the woods right now. Fuck no. No, hell no. Fuck, I'm not meeting a goddamn mountain lion or a goddamn fucking bear in the woods. And fuck. Back there, you get in that trail, and then you're back there. Like, there is nobody back there with you unless there's some other people back there walking. Sometimes you can hear people, but it's like echoes out. You can't tell. And some people are off in really side trails and shit. And there's no fucking way I'm going back there and getting into some altercation with some fucking wild animal. And this is like the season time. This is when they all are coming down. And then plus of how much weird interaction there keeps being. There's crazy shit going on. The animals are coming to people trying to figure out what the fuck. There was one, I just saw a footage of a guy and him and his girl were out in a boat. And they started watching this orca was chasing an otter. And so they're like watching like, fuck, like, it's a National Geographic show or something. So they're commenting and stuff like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden the otter gets to their boat, jumps in their boat. And then the otter gets out of it and back in like 3 times or something and keeps looking at the people scared shitless. It fucking knows that. And then the goddamn orca just starts going around their boat. Like, it knows it's in there. Like, fuck that. And how many of these fucking orcas have been knocking boats over? And you got fucking, what did I just say that was chasing? The long little creature thing. It's like the river rat. What did I just? Otter. There's been people who have gotten attacked by otters. Like, these otters have gone in and jumped in their boats and started attacking them and biting them and clawing them. And I guess they can be kind of like the raccoons of the water. And I saw footage of, there was a couple of old, like, there's an old LA article from like 1932 or 1923 or something like that. And it was about these lizard creature people who live in the ground, and this whole long article about it, and what the Hopi Indians say about them, what these creatures do. They're all this whole thing. And but there's been so many articles like about giants and shit, and they always hide this shit. But and this was pictures of a lake bed that dried up, and they found a whole bunch of skeletons. But the skeletons look like mermaids. They look like the top of them's human. Some of them even had this scraggly looking hair and these creepy. All of them were skeletons, so they looked fucking creepy as fuck. And the tail part was so much bones. Like it was really, but you know, you got to remember folklore. So when they say, you know, oh, mermaids, it got turned into these beautiful creatures that sing, but I don't think that's, I think that those were sea creature things, and they would, kind of like the stories of the sirens with the ships. And I think it has something to do with lighthouses and stuff too, why they put lighthouses, because I think the sirens would call them in and get the ships to crash, and then when the ships crashed, they would eat all the people. But you know, I don't know how many people they can even fucking eat, and how many of them were there swarms. Did they go in like schools? Like, that's why I keep saying, like, this whole place has been other reality, other things. Like, we think we're all there is. No, there's all sorts of shit going on. And it depends too, like like if you understand about life and all the different things, and you understand like an ant pile is a whole universe in itself having an experience. A flower growing is having an experience. Everything is experiencing itself all around you. And it depends on how you associate with it, how you connect to it. You can tap into the universe. You know, you can become a part of it. Yeah, did I say that part? No. Let me think about what it was. Because there was something that kept coming about some. Okay, let me think. Hold on. I guess it's going to come back because I can't. I skipped it again, I think. But I have seen this one video too. Well, not one. She's done a whole bunch. She's like freaking out. She's been crying. She's freaking out. She's screaming. She's just doing video after video in a panic. So she said that she initiated, and I know who this girl is too. I mean, I don't know her in person, but she is, you know, a content creator, and she is like an Appalachian person. So she's like a Deep Hills person who is, okay, yeah, I got that. Okay, let me go back for a second. Okay, so where I was saying that you're going to have all these people who were going to be like freaking out. And I've said all along, like there was going to be a lot of people that were they were leading people a certain direction. And then, so they had a bunch of people that they were following. Like there's lessons and all this shit. Like where people sit there and go like, oh my gosh, they got so many followers and all that stuff. That doesn't fucking matter. It matters about what they're putting out. It is this balancing. And you're going to see these people who had a whole bunch of followers, especially right now, it was because they were promoting, it's like they're promoting ignorance. They are promoting what they don't like. So they want the people passing the bad information to have big accounts. But the way the karmic thing works in the lessons and shit, like there's a lot of people who are going to have a lot of lessons from this whole scenario playing out. And like I just saw this one of this girl who, she's one of those spiritual account things, and she was just freaking out and crying, and she lost her job, and she just was going on and on about this stuff. And one of these girls who was pushing so hard for the strike, she kept saying she's a shaman and the stuff that she would be saying. And I keep thinking like, okay, how do these spiritual people not see? Like if they're so connected to their spirit, then why do they keep pushing on this 3D shit? Why don't they put the brakes on? Why can't they see? But see, they're not supposed to see because it's part of their lessons. It's part of what they're supposed to go through. And like this girl who was freaking out because she said she initiated the strike. So she said, I initiated the strike. I thought, let's all just strike it so we don't, something about, the voting and something about, I don't even fucking know. Something about that. And so she was pushing everybody to do that. And then it caught on. And all these people started talking about striking and shit. And so she said it was just going crazy. And all her videos talking about that were being pushed. She was getting so many views, so many views. Then all of a sudden she saw what was going on. And she started reeling it back. No, people don't strike, don't strike. This is a setup. They're setting you up. They're going to lock us down and blah, blah, blah. And the people who have taken it over, because when you go in and you see, it's all woke agenda shit. The people have taken it over. The stuff that the people who are striking, which I don't know who is negotiating with who. Like, this is the strangest thing. How it's so fucking vague. People need to be bold. You've got to take bigger moves. Like the spiritual girl crying and crying about lost her job. Why can't she see your job was taken because it's time for change? It's like, how do you go out and preach about spirituality when you're not connected to it? So when I was out walking yesterday, and this is like for people who live in the city and stuff, and you think, well, I can't get out. I can't go, walk in nature. What am I supposed to do? And so, yeah, granted, I'm by the woods. There's woods all around me. And it's not, I'm not out there with cars driving by and honking and all this kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, the smells too. I was talking about the smells. And so I was standing out there and, just walking, and she'd stop and do her thing, and I'll just stand there and stand there and stand there. And I always go into, for one thing, when I was a little kid and we were learning the ballet positions and stuff, I can remember some things she was saying, but those are, if you know your ballet positions, standing in those, it really holds you up and erect and keeps you feeling more balanced. So there's really something to, like the whole thing, like with the breathing, the chi, the yoga. Don't just go into this stuff and think, oh, well, I'm going to do the dog day down and all this, you tune in, your stretches, you can know them vaguely. Just tune into your body and follow what your body wants. And you pull into them and you breathe out of them and shit. Like there's a connection. That's what's important. Not that, oh, did you do the proper dog day down or whatever? No, that's somebody who tried to come up with different poses and different things that work good. But you can listen to your body and come up with your own. Don't get concerned about that. Go into your body. That's the thing. And so outside when I was walking, then it was when I stop. This is the part that I want to say about, because when we'll stop, I just automatically go into my own little world. And so I'll just sit there, and I have no idea how long she's been sitting there sniffing. The only time is like, well, I'll start rushing her. There could be certain things. Like I'll look up and I'll see the sun doing some weird shit. I'll be like, fuck, I should have brought my phone out here. It's like, come on, let's go. Or something like that. But usually I'll just, confirmation, I just walk around. It's so funny. I just walk around and just go into my little weird world and my little trances and just stand out there and go, in my communication. And that is the thing, is you can be on a nature walk doing nothing, walking through your neighborhood. It's where you put your mind. Is your mind spinning out on, I lost my job. What am I going to do? How am I going to pay my bills? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? Or are you connecting to the other side? Well, okay, so you guys took that job from me. So what's next? What are we doing? You guys want me to go somewhere else? Where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? Are you guys gonna make sure, I'm gotta have some food. You're gonna make sure I get that food. And, you could see the next thing is like somebody was just showing the Salvation Army food bank right now in their town. And it was fucking crazy. Like it had racks of ribs. It had fucking all sorts of shit. And it was all free. And they weren't caring about the money, which, you know, is always concerning to me. Like I had said, when I was going up and getting the government food, since I stopped paying my house payment, I haven't. I just go get my own. But, you know, the spraying and shit, I feel like there's added stuff. And so when I saw that whole big thing given away, it's like, fuck, all these racks of ribs, they know people are going to go running up and get them. Is this all injected stuff? Like, fuck, I don't know. You know, or burning down whole entire towns. So, oh yeah, the Hawaii, oh yeah, I got to do the weather. I told you I was going to be all over the place. So the Hawaii, so all these missing kids in their chairs and shit. I keep messing with my hair, but I'm telling you, it is more of a wax. And if you start getting a whole bunch of it, I've noticed, like, you can start being like, well, like, fuck, my hair looks like it's just wet or something. And there's so much, and especially I'll notice back here. And you gotta just brush it. Like if you're trying to get off the shampoo and it's frustrating. It's very much reprogramming, I'm telling you, because your mind will automatically, and it keeps being, oh, don't you just want that fresh hair feel? It's like, yeah, I do, but I don't want the poison. And I want my hair, like I do really, really like, there's so many positives that I really, really like about it. Like I feel like my hair has totally changed textures. It's crazy, but you keep brushing and brushing with that boar brush, and mine's a bristle brush, so it just moves it through, and just keep brushing it, especially because with long hair, it depends on the length of your hair, but keep getting it down there, because I think it goes out when it senses that this is dry. And so I brush it, and then a big wide comb helps to separate it and keep it apart. But I don't think it looks dirty. Like on these camera thing, there's some sort of reflection where I feel like you know, but to me, I don't think it looks dirty. I don't think it smells dirty. I think there's a lot more upkeep. It's not just like go in, wash it, and just go about your business, or go in, wash it, strip it, and then put a whole bunch of different fucking chemicals on to mimic your natural secretions, so your hair has some sort of body and shit. But doing a no wash, it isn't like you're ignoring your hair. There's a lot of upkeep. You got to brush it and brush it and brush it. And then there's different sprays and stuff you can make with essential oils and stuff to make it smell fresh. There's different things with the rosemary water, cloves, cinnamon. There's all sorts of shit. So but every person has to figure out, like, we all have different hair. We have different textures, different all this stuff. We're a little bit different from each other. And that's, you know, I think it's all on purpose so that we can't all just do the same thing. We have to think for ourselves. And so it's important. And so, anyways, when I was out yesterday and I was doing all this raking and stuff, the whole time I'm out there, I was sitting there thinking, like, what in the hell is this smell? Like, this is bad. It's like, fuck, has she got diarrhea out here somewhere? Is there diarrhea? Is there a lot of dead animals out here right now? Like, the whole time I'm just conversing and, you know, asking, like, what in the world is this smell? I don't even remember all the conversation, because it's not like, it's more of a noticing. It's more of like, you notice things, and it's like they'll talk to you about them, but it doesn't mean you're going to get all the exact answers, like exactly, you know, like they don't tell me exactly when something's going to happen, how it's going to happen, or anything. So it is like there's an essence of surprise that each person needs in their life of certain things, but they're always there to help you through the parts that they can help you with. So, and don't think like they're doing it as like they're sitting there like laughing at you, like they think you're a fool or something. It has nothing to do with that. You, the soul, they can't overstep. They can't sit here and, you know, and they don't feel that motivation because they know it's a game. They know we're in a game. We're in a game. And if you had somebody just step in and tell you everything, and it defeated the whole purpose of you being in the game. So they can't defeat your purpose of being in the game. It's just a lot of people who get so mad at their guides. They get mad at them. They get like I'll argue with them or yell at them or something. I'll get mad at them. But I've had a big trust thing my whole life, like that they've been there, and they keep bringing me back and keep bringing me back to this thing. Because when they very first started talking to me, that I remember when I was 3, and that whole thing about the soapy water and them talking to me, because it was a while when I was in the bathroom. Like, I remember even in the conversation, it was like I was involved in a conversation. Like, I was listening to this person, then I would listen to this person, and it was this whole thing of them telling me. And but they keep bringing me back to this time, and I can see myself in my crib, and I can see myself. And so there was a time when I was like 18 months, I think, and there was some baby aspirin. My mom had bought a whole bottle of the baby aspirin, and anybody knows baby aspirin, it's like candy. And so I ate the whole bottle, and I had to go get my stomach pumped. But they keep bringing me back to that. So I think that they were telling me then, don't do that. You're going to be sorry. Because they're always, I just think people have forgot to listen. They don't want that consciousness. They don't want that, the angel on their shoulder. They just want the dark one on their shoulder. They don't want that, because it threatens them. It makes them feel bad about themselves. It makes them feel like a failure or something. But you got to face out in the light and release that part of yourself. Face that part of yourself so you can release it, because it's not who you are. It's just an aspect. It's like a fractal. And it's like like a diamond, how it has all those different sides. It's one side of you. It's not you. So your dark side is the dark sides of you are sides that you can release. It's not who you are at your core. It's things that you need to release because you are pushed into places of darkness throughout this life, throughout different lives. But you have to find that balance and find that in yourself. And so, anyways, when so I was outside, and it smelled like death or dead animals, or just like the strongest smell of poop. But no matter what part I went on the yard, it was so strong, this horrific smell, or it's kind of making me feel sick to my stomach. That's like another reason why I was like, fuck this, I'm not gonna stay out here and keep smelling this horrific smell. It's like no matter what part I went on the yard. And so then I'm thinking, this has got to be something that is over us. And I have seen now where people are starting to catch on how they're using this energy, like what I had said before. It's like they tint us. I've seen it in my area. They like tint us with this atmosphere where it's like they just are, it's like a condensed spraying on us or something. And, rural. And I feel like, that they kill a bunch of people, like get them sick and stuff. And then, the leftovers, they just want to contain and control us. So, but they like getting people sick. They like getting people to rush to the hospital and pay money and all that stuff. And they got money problems. They just make you sick. So silly. People think, well, I just won't go to work. Oh, they don't care. They don't fucking care. They make money off of you being sick and having medicine. They don't give a fuck about if you're going to go to work or not. So, I mean, they've got everybody to have to stay home. They've got fucking AI, robots coming in to take everybody's job. Like, they don't give a fuck. And this independence and these spiritual people who don't even see what is going on. It's like, people have got to quit thinking labels mean something. You call yourself whatever the fuck you want. But you gotta, there's a practice to it. There's a maintenance. There's like I've said, I'm constantly in communication with my guides, constantly in reflection, talking about what's going on and stuff. Even if I wasn't talking to them, they would always be telling me, because everything that they put, I just live so much different than other people. I don't know how to explain it. It is a completely different way of living when you are in contact with people who can see what's going on. Like, they can see what's going on. They can help you. Oh, it's hard to, but anyways, so skip off that because it's just frustrating. Like, I wish I could get everybody to understand this other way of living, but I don't know how. It's just, and I go in and I see people's videos and I just feel like, my God, is everybody just lost, lost, lost? Like, and then you got these people who call themselves as spiritual leaders and they're fucking lost. It's like, you guys, all you got to do is start connecting to your spirit. Like, everybody just looks at things in this weird way that, but it's programming. It's like, you got to get out of your programs. You got to fucking recognize your programs. You got to see the side of you that's real and natural compared to the side of you that's programmed. You have to catch it. Like, nobody else can. And, you know, when I hear all these people out talking about different things, like, for one thing, okay, let me finish with what I said this morning when I've opened the door a couple times to let her out in the middle of the night. A totally different smell. It smells like a motherfucking chemical now. Like, you know, like if I opened up fingernail polish and stuck my nose in it. And so then when I keep opening the door, it's like, what in the fuck is this smell now? And a completely different feeling outside. And they keep doing these tons of wind. And then this back and forth with the temperature. And it'll be cold and then hot, and you know, they just try and create these storms. And I don't even know what the fuck with these smells. Like, what in the holy hell? And this chemical one, it makes you just not even want to be outside. It's like, what am I breathing in? And then Stella being out all the time, and then she gets sick as fuck. It's like, oh, this is so frustrating. I cannot fucking wait until we get out of this poison part. Like, god damn. And then you see these, like, all these fucking people who think they're so awake. I'm so awake. Listen to me. I know what's going on here. I know what's happening with the money, with the poison, with all this shit. And then they start telling you know, we're all going to be chipped. We're all going to be this. It's like, you don't obviously know what's going on. You're living in fear. You're totally just focused on what scares you. And you think that's what's going to happen. These people come in. I saw this person explaining the BRICS nation and how they are going to, the way people keep seeing it is like, we're in this takeover. It's like, you guys, this is not what's happening. The BRICS nation are the countries. But people need to go in and watch stuff with Charlie Ward, because he just breaks it down from the goddamn beginning. And even when he was telling stuff, and I'd go and I'd listen to a bunch of different economic people and stuff like that. And there was a definite group that did not know anything what was going on. Charlie just happened to be it was all about time and place. It's all about your purpose, your destiny, what you're supposed to hear, when you're supposed to hear it, and all of it. And then you've got to be putting yourself out there and taking a chance and saying what you hear. And so his perspective was very different than the other people. And I kept going with his, and his has been playing out this whole motherfucking time. Slower than you would think, but it has all been playing out. And these other people, it is the same, where they just keep seeing it in this other way. I don't know. It's like they have limited information, but they just try and make it fit with what they have, but they don't look at everything. They don't see everything. So they don't see the truth. They don't see, it's like they're in ignorance. They're still in the dark. And, but the BRICS, so this Nisera Gesera, like, you have to go look up about Nisera Gesera and all of this stuff that there's, like, it all goes together about the fiat system, about them taking us off of the gold standard, about changing it into the banking system, about lending us money, and their whole setup. It was all a fucking thing just to lock us into slavery. And so, but we had to wake up to it. We had to start questioning it. We had to start seeing it for ourselves in order to understand. And this military person that I had heard too said that it's really that everything they're doing is way more effective than what they thought. that they are very pleased with how many people are waking up, what people are waking up, because the whole thing is getting people to, question their reality, and that there is mass awakening. So they're very happy, which that makes me feel even more sure that we're getting close. And one of the things I was going to say earlier that was just so absurd, it is just so silly, and it's all such a show, and I don't know how people don't see it, but him going and turning himself in this fucking footage of this motorcade. And you have to recognize that the ambulance, that he is the real president. And and they're, arresting him, like, in our country. Like, that's why these people are all going to go down with treason. And that's why he does all of these little, like, explanations where he's, like, giving these little lessons, like, this has never been done. This is, like, he is trying to get things to sink in. And that is why it seems like they had to use somebody that a lot of people would hate, so that when they would listen, it was always going to be, there was nothing that they could do to pull us all in together with one person. There was always going to be hate, no matter what. There was going to be division. As the whole thing is for us to start seeing that the division is created. But each person has to see it, or they stay divided, and each person's division is deep inside of them based on their biases that they have been indoctrinated with throughout their lifetime. And so it's deep shit. And so, you can't just sit there and go like, oh, they're so stupid, they're not awake, why can't they just see? Because they can't see. They're trying to see through programs. They're looking through a lot of different lenses that are not their own. And so they are have a distortion in their view. And so but when he goes out and he explains stuff and he says stuff, it gets the attention of certain people, and then they get a little lesson there, but then the lesson flips, and all of a sudden they see the real culprit is this other person, but they understand the lesson now. They understand, and it's all going to be shown, that he was all this false charge, like, how can a president be treated like this? I mean, how many times has he said that? That's going to be a big thing, but also put it into perspective about Hawaii. I mean, how did they treat that queen? So it's kind of like he's showing us this how they've treated people for so long, people in power and stuff. And they go in and they destroy nations, they destroy power, they destroy, they don't allow people to be independent nations. This Hawaii was an independent nation. And in Hawaii too. So a big thing that has been going on is people keep saying, well, where are the parents? Why aren't we seeing tons of videos of parents being outraged and screaming and crying and find my kids and shit like that? And, when they've only got 20% of the houses checked, I would say, I would imagine that most of those houses are filled up with families. I think that they were trying to wipe out entire families. Like, I don't know. I just, it's so horrible. It's just so horrible what they have done to these people. And these are fucking indigenous, like, this is these people's land. And then it keeps showing this footage of Oprah and her, and how much land she bought for this much money and this much money. And then in these other places, it's disturbing as fuck, man. And it's also very strange too, is when they have like a darker skinned person who was out there in the ranks like that. Why does she not feel any empathy towards her own people? Like, is she just a fucking clone person that was made as to be a figurehead or something? Like, where is her connection to people? So weird, as when she very first started her show way back. That is what people liked about her. She just seemed like one of us, Was that all a ploy? Was that all a thing to get people to like her, to idolize her, to trust her, to listen to her? But she was really just a fucking clone robot person? Because I don't understand how she can do so much evil to her own people. Like, I don't know. But, to the Hawaiians, I mean, that's not her own people. So, go back to the different tribes fighting or something. Maybe she looks at it as like, fuck it, she's, taking over these other tribes. She's putting herself into a position of queen of her own. That's the thing, is you just don't know what goes on in other people's minds, how they're perceiving, what their actions are. Like, you just don't know. And there's all these parts being played out. Like, there has to be these parts in the movie. There has to be these horrible bad guys and shit. It's part of this show. It's part of the experience we're in. It's, it's the part of the movie. We couldn't very well have a movie that was going to create so much change if we didn't have any bad guys. So we got to have these horrific bad guys. And let me think. There was something still that I had skipped off of that I wanted to say. Oh, man. I keep seeing like part of it, but I can't see the whole thing. It's so weird. Because you think, oh, well, you could just pull it. It's not like that, though. It's like watching movies in your head, but then you have somebody who's also sitting there with you, telling you things as you're watching it. And so it's like, totally, to me, I hear him enough like a mentally ill person, like where you think like these mentally ill people, even these people who are out there on hardcore drugs, and you see them out talking to themselves and spurting things out, and it's because they're in that world. They're in this other world. They're not fully here. They're not fully in this world. And that's why they can seem so, when they just are talking to people and nobody's there and shit like that. But in their reality, where they are, it's not the same places where you see them. You see them sitting on a corner, drugged out and talking to themselves and stuff like that. But in here, they're not there. They're somewhere else. They're in, that's why, like, even in coma or anything, you can bounce between. I've bounced between two worlds my whole life. And so that's why when it started being like, they started saying that people were mentally ill and schizophrenic and shit like that, I was like, how is that mentally ill? What, like, I always was questioning that. I was always trying to talk to people who were, like, I was even a psych nurse. And I would try and talk to them, like, I knew this shit was real. I knew it's not just in their mind. This is real. It is, with the mentally ill, to me, it's like they were an open channel and they were getting overwhelmed, because I'm telling you, it is a lot. There is a lot. When you get through the noise in here, you will find it is when you get up in your crown chakra, you'll see it's like going to a party. You will open yourself up to a lot of other input, a lot of other information. You have grandparents, you have ancestors, you could have connections from other lives. Like, there's all sorts of shit that goes on. And so, and then when they don't teach these people to use discernment and to understand about the dark energy and shit, then they've got so much of that dark energy, and they've got so much anxiety because they think that this world doesn't exist, and that they are in this world that they've made up for themselves, and they are trapped in it. And they're like, they get scared. They get so scared, and they get so overwhelmed, and they've got devils and angels always trying to get them. And they were always in conversations. Like, you could go sit and talk to somebody who is deemed schizophrenic. And I'm not just, there's different levels. Like, I think they want to just fucking label everybody with a goddamn diagnosis. But like a true schizophrenic, a true one that is really struggling in life, who's really talking to other people all the time. Like, I see it, and it's a very different perspective when you're somebody who has been talking to the other people the whole time, and knowing that you've got to recognize the darker energies. You've got to see them, and that they will intoxicate you. They will trick you. They'll come in when you need them the most. And keep in mind, because people get so caught up in this, well, they're demons, they're devils. Even the people who are dealing with it, they think they're demons and devils. It's like they're not that smart. They're not intelligent, conscious beings. They are parasitic energies that are trying to find a home. They're trying to feed off of you. And they are not to the point of being conscious. They're only just like an exaggerated emotion. And it's dark emotions. And so is the people give them like identities and stuff, and they will battle with them. And I see some of those dark energies, they will, like, they don't just let go of you because you said let go. You have to keep recognizing, like, start noticing their voice, recognizing the energy they bring to you, start hearing what it is that they're always saying. It isn't when you start noticing and keep going like, what? No, that is you waking up. That is you beginning to have discernment towards the different energies that are trying to steer you and guide you. So it's important, everything's about mind and the manner, start paying attention, what's going on up in there. Who's talking? What are they talking about? What are they doing? But the people who get lost in there, it's like they get trapped in fear. And there's a lot of dark, and then the more darkness that comes. And they have some horrible ones. And I know that one time when I got sick with the scarlet fever, that dark energy is, it was so creepy because I was sick, but I didn't feel sick. I was sick, like I felt sick, like I was sick, like a little kid, but it wasn't like I felt like I was dying or something. I was laying in bed, and I all of a sudden I got really cold, and so I wanted to reach down and get my blankets. So I must have kicked them off because of the temperature thing. And so when I wanted to reach them down, all of a sudden, my dad was standing in my doorway. And my dad was a scary person at this point. He was already like, oh, danger, danger, danger. Don't come near me. And, but then all of a sudden, he turned into dark energy. So it was just this darkness that was standing there. And it had a loud voice. It was so loud, but that's why I said it can ring in your head to the sound where you hear it out here. But that doesn't mean other people can hear it because we're all in our own viewfinder. And so it kept telling me that I couldn't have the covers. It was going to get me if I tried to get the covers. And I kept looking at it. And I kept reaching down, like I thought I was going to be sneaky, but it was just watching me and kept telling me. And it knew everything I was going to do. And so I reached down, I was going to pull him real quick. And it said something like, I told you. And it came at me real abruptly. And I jumped up on my bed. I opened my window. And I think I was around 10 years old or something. I opened up my window and I jumped out the window and I took off running. And it was right behind me. I could hear it the whole time. It was like the most scary movie thing when you're being chased. And you could hear it right behind, and the voice of it and the tension. You could feel it getting so close to you. And it was laughing and yelling and stuff like you can't get away. And so I ran across the street to my friend's house, and it was all dark. It was night. It was all dark. And I started knocking on the door. Nobody came, and I could hear it. It was like right behind me. It stays just the perfect pace to freak you out. Like it could have caught me in 2 seconds. No, it's just building up fear. And so I took off running down the alley. I went around the back of these people's house, and I just took off. I was running down the alley. It's so weird when you think about, like, you've got a 10-year-old, or I don't know, maybe I was 9. I could have even been 8, and jumped out the window. And let's see, I think I was in 5th or 6th grade. So whatever. Oh, I don't even know how long I lived at that house. I keep trying to think about the friends that I had. I have no idea how long I even lived there. It was such a fun neighborhood. But it was the one where the darker skinned guy moved across the street. And I don't know if that's why my dad moved, because there was such a thing that they kept putting out there. These people are going to move into your neighborhoods and take over. There was so much propaganda, so much fear, because they were trying to create this division. They wanted us to push these people back. Like, they want to see how would it work. Like, we don't have to go in and do it. We'll just create a whole scenario where we've got so much tension between the two. So they were doing all of that stuff on purpose. But when I was running and then I saw lights on in somebody's, I think we used to call them like a den. It's kind of like at the back here. I was saying your living room was when you first walked in, and it was like fancy. So if people came by and, you know, you had visitors, you always had your living room, you know, your fancy room with your couch and shit that you could sit in there and entertain. And then you had your dining room. You had to have a formal dining room. So you had your fancy table for dinner guests and whatnot. And then you went into the kitchen, and the kitchen was just a kitchen. And then you had your kitchen table, so the place where your kids or whatever would eat, or people would eat breakfast. And then you had, behind that, you had like a den, like a place where it was a family room. And so it was, you know, where it's more messy, TV, you know, kind of a room. And in this one, so this was, when I went up, they were back at the back of the house in the den, and it was a whole bunch of people. And so they were having like, and it was, and I didn't know these people. I guess it was the preacher of a church, because I didn't know that. And I went up and I started pounding on the door, and I said, somebody's after me. And I'm not sure what all the conversation was. And so they took me and started walking me back to my house. Well, at this point, my mom was walking down the road looking for me. So they must have heard me jump out. I'm not sure, but they were out looking for me. And so this guy walks up to my mom, and he says that I was saying that my dad was after me, trying to get me or something. And so he was asking, you know, and they must have been like, oh, she's just sick or whatever. And then when they took me in the house, they took me into my brother's room, and they were making me sleep in there. And so I was in one of the twin beds, and then I was totally hallucinating. Like, there was, I kept hearing music. There kept being this little girl and sitting on the ground playing. It was like, oh my gosh. When you go into these other, it's like your mind opens up to see things that you don't normally see. And so, but the illusion is that you think that stuff's not real because you don't see it. No, the reason you don't see it is because you're focused. You're laser focused on a frequency of experience. So you only see what you're here to experience. Just, you know, for some reason, you know, there are some of us who could see more. And, you know, if it would have happened to me when I was 18 years old or something, and all of a sudden these people were talking to me, and then I would have been like, hey, you guys, what are these people talking to us? And people are like, that means you're crazy, you know, and then you get put on medicine. But since it happened when I was 3, and I kept saying stuff and about the people talking to me and stuff like that, you know, that's back when they just think, oh, you know, they've got an imagination. Oh, they're so imaginative. They're making up friends for themselves and stuff. It's like, no, there's real people talking. I can hear them. Why can't you hear them? And then the stuff they're saying, it's like, why don't you understand the stuff they're telling me? They're telling me stuff that, like, and then when you try and share it, and especially back then, trying to share it and having a religious mom, no, I'm talking to devils and demons and stuff. My question is, then why is the devil and the demons trying to make me have a better life? Why do they want everybody to have a better life? Why are they trying to tell people how to feel better about themselves? Wouldn't the devil be trying to beat us down? You know, kind of like, you know, starting this strike and then have it backfire in our faces. We lock ourselves down. They don't have to do shit. We'll just lock ourselves down. And then they cut off, like, there's no food, there's none of this, there's none of that, which is going to be. Because, you know, like I said, this, however they're trying to do this inflation is like the same shit they did like in fucking Cuba or something. Where, where is it? I think it's Brazil. I swear to God. It's one of these beautiful countries that they've gone in and did this same shit that they're doing to us. And then they take over, and then they inflate the cost, and they crash the money. And then the people are having to pay, like, most people I don't even think can afford toilet paper. You can't, people are hungry. They're in the roads all the time. They fight. There's just crime all the fucking time. So that's what they want to create. And they get all this tension, and then they bring all these criminals from these places that have already done it and get them all set up and prepared. I guess there's a shit ton of Chinese soldiers coming across the border right now. Like, I guess down at the border in Texas, it's like a whole fucking military thing going on. Like, there's a bunch of action happening. And then the people who, the people who follow the plane things, oh my gosh, the planes up in the air, there's so much military shit going on. So, I think it is, I think we're towards the end of the thing. I mean, when you got Joe falling asleep and shit and saying weird shit. That was funny, though, yesterday when Buttigieg introduces him. And he's like, okay, thank you. I think he called him Pete Booty Juice. Okay, Pete Booty Juice. But that's the kind of stuff, that they want to do to make him look foolish. They have to have him look foolish. And that one guy, too, he was saying, that military guy, he was saying that Hillary was put to death by fucking 2019. And Trump was there watching. And there was even a picture that showed her laying there. And definitely looked like Hillary laying there dead. But, there's Photoshop, like all sorts of stuff. But this whole video that I was listening to, he definitely seemed like he had some connection to find out some stuff. But he said that like the tribunals and stuff is like, it's going to be huge. He said that it's like they go on for treason, and then like a whole group of people can be charged with that, and then they're going to have a whole nother one where they're going to be charged with another thing. So it's like, look, I don't know how much, but this is all the show. This is all the show. It's all going to be, the hard part of the show is because a lot of what you're going to see is going to affect you at your core. So a lot of this stuff where people were so all in, say on the LGBTQ, like as it was a psyop thing to destroy gay people as they were coming into their own. Let's hook onto them and monetize it. Like, we'll sell rainbows everywhere and act like we're so supportive. Like, it's all a scheme to, they want to get their group in there, but then also just create division and use it, like, even on this strike thing. It's all this gender stuff and race stuff and the things that they are negotiating. It's like, that's what we're fighting against. We don't want that shit. We don't want any of this nonsense bullshit. Like, so fuck off with this shit. But then they get people, and that woman said, so while she was promoting it, she was just getting views, like they were putting her videos out there, just pushing them through. As soon as she started saying, no, don't do it, she said suddenly they were blocking her videos. They won't let them go through. They're taking them down. See, they know. I even on mine, on here, as soon as it starts going, every time, if you even went and looked at my, because there's a chart thing that shows you, and so I'll go in and look. My guides tell me it's coming, the energy's coming like waves. So the energy of change, it's like coming in like waves. And I've seen where these spiritual people are out there saying, everything has changed. You probably feel very upside down and stuff. So all these people are going through different things, So there probably is people who their whole world's flipping upside down. That's what this is all about. That's what all these tribunals and shit is going to be. So you face yourself. The things you thought you stood for, you're going to, see what you were really standing for. So it's a whole part of the process, this whole expansion, this whole part of where everybody has to face themselves. That's what it's all about. See, it starts like getting so, that's why I feel like I've got to lift it up all the time. But I mean, there's times where I'll think like, oh, I just want to wash it. But I really, really like it so much better. Like, my hair feels healthier. Like, there's a whole bunch of good, positive things. So I'm going to stick with it. And I'm going to keep promoting other people to get off the shampoo. It's like all these things have all been a scam to make us sick, to just get us sick and you know, destroy all of the follicles and shit so the poisons can just penetrate straight up in there, because that's what they're always trying to it's like get to our state of consciousness. And even on those fucking commercials for those sleeves, they say, yeah, we've figured out how to get your consciousness, and we get it and we'll put it in this thing and stuff. And I know that's what that maid is for. I swear to God, it is a fucking consciousness sucker. There's no motherfucking way the government is going to put a whole bunch of money in. I mean, even that their new way of, which I hope they use it on these motherfuckers down at the goddamn Gitmo, but their new way of putting us out of our misery in jails, like, we're not going to do the lethal injection anymore. We've moved past the electric chair. We've moved past, well, they moved past the guillotine, the firing squad, the electric chair, the gas chamber, hanging, and the other thing, the lethal dose, the lethal injection. So now what they're doing, and I talked about this a while ago, is that head thing. It's a head pincher. It's like a big fucking crane. Like you're sitting there in this fucking chair and you know something's about to come off the back of your head, and just it's like a big pincher, just pulls your head off. Yeah, that sounds humane. Let's work it on them for a while. I'd rather have the guillotine. Take me back there. Separate me from my head quickly. But they, like, even the gas chamber, let's just sit there and choke you out for a long time. The fucking hanging, that takes a while. Fucking people sitting up there shaking for 5 fucking minutes after they break their neck. And electric chair, fucking horrible. But, you know, Trump brought back the firing squad. I'm not sure about the guillotine, but I know there's been some that have taken the firing squad. But he's gone old school. So he went back. I think that they get a choice, but they ought to fucking make them. They came up with this head snatcher for the people and what was it yesterday? I put on some movie. I didn't watch it. So many things. I'll put them on for a couple minutes, and there's so much shit every time. It's like, oh my God, you get the whole story when you start watching old movies, and you just see they were setting it up. They were leading the whole fucking thing. But this movie was showing this young guy and being in this what are those places called? Juvenile detention center. And they had all these boys out there. It kind of reminded me of Holes, the scene. All those juvenile delinquent boys out there digging those holes. And so it was, but it wasn't Holes. This is a movie, something about horses and ranches or something. And so all those boys were out there working, and one of them stops. And of course, then it's like, what was that one movie? Is it Steve McQueen or Paul Newman or something? But the guy comes over to him and, you know, starts yelling at him and telling him you have to work and all that stuff. And it's just like, look at why they create prisoners. Like, it's just more work slaves. Just, yeah, you're going to work. You're going to work for free. You're going to do what we tell you. All those people who own prisons, see, they don't even put stuff in to make our lives better. All they try and do is how to destroy them and how to suck the very life out of us. And so creating criminals, like how many fucking, especially dark-skinned people, there's been some dark-skinned people who had a goddamn joint and got life in prison. Like, it is absurd and disgusting. And we're talking about a goddamn plant. And we're talking about these goddamn people who have put themselves in power, who decided they're over us and they can tell us how we have to live and what the rules are. And for that gift of them telling us how we have to live, we have to give them all our money. And it's like, that's not the world I'm going to believe. No, that's the world you created, but that's not the one I'm going to participate in. I'm not participating in that. Like, I'm not, like, once you see through it, you can't, you know? And, what was that? Because there's, okay, so the house thing and the trust, like all of this paperwork, but there was another woman who was explaining something else about, I think it was about land or something. Oh, man, I can't remember what it was, but there's just so much loopholes. There's so much loopholes. Like we are allowed to have land. It's our human right. They are trying to manipulate that and control that and profit off of it. But there's just, I can't remember. Dang it. I wish I could remember what she was saying. Because she was talking to, and it seemed like she was talking something to the Hawaiian people needed to know. Because the Hawaiian people need to, and see, they killed so many of them. That's the thing, is that they killed so many of the natural Hawaiians. Like that was their neighborhood. That was where the people who wouldn't sell their land, who had owned it, their great, great, great grandparents owned it. And the corporation wanted it because it was fucking primo land. You can see on all the footage. And it's been these people's, their birthright. It's their land. So then they went in and just killed them all. I mean, there's so much stuff coming out now. Like they had all the roads blocked off. They wouldn't let them out. There's so much horrible stuff about the thing. But the whole thing is that the Hawaiian people need to band together and tell the government, get the fuck off our land. Like, and they're not standing up to them. The government has got the area blocked off. They won't let the people in. They've got like, I don't know, it looks like military kind of people, but I would think they're probably UN military type people. Because from what I understand, our military is under the commander-in-chief, who is in the motorcade, who's having to deal with arrests and shit like that. So he's in charge of the military, and he wouldn't be telling people that they can't go in there. So, but see, that's why we got to have all this, like, his hands are tied because of all this stuff with this, these criminal overtakers. So but the people need to all, but see, their hands are tied with military. Like all of this stuff is about the people. Every area that is under attack, it's about the people. It's about this full circle. It's about this energy. And everybody has to, is like stand up for themselves. That's the main thing. Everything is pushing people into themselves. But they just don't know that because they think that the person who they had built all their life was themselves. And they don't realize, no, that was the creation of a survival. That was just who you created to survive. That's not who you really are. That is like, there's parts of you. But when you go in and you start doing your healing and you start questioning, you'll start seeing, oh, I'm not even really like that. Like, I'm nothing like that. Like, why would I think I'm this when I'm not even anything like that? But that's where you got to start, going in and recognizing your own pain, your own suffering, your own challenges, and your own choices, and all of that stuff. So it's all a process. It's a development. And as this promotion by the universe to get you into a position so that you can reevaluate yourself. You can reevaluate your life. You can look at you can lose a job. Like, these highly spiritual people, losing their jobs and losing their houses and stuff, and then falling apart is, and I can't say, like, if something bad happens to me, could very well see me fall apart. And just like I've said this whole time, like the stuff I'm going on saying, we don't know until it goes the other way. Like, you are putting yourself out there. You're taking a chance. And to me, I'm taking a chance. I'm connecting to, well, I'm not connecting to them. They've always been there. I'm listening to them, their guidance. Even when it is something where I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Does that seem like I should do that? Trust us. That's what you're doing. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're here for. That's where you're going. That's what you're supposed to do. So it is, but it's can come into a challenge of them telling you what you're supposed to do. Because you could be like, well, I'm playing it safe over here. I work down in the street at the Safeway. And then they're telling me that I need to start, I'm going to run a community. I need to learn about this. I need to learn about that. And I need to start speaking out and getting people to listen to me. Like they're going to be guiding you in ways where you feel awkward and uncomfortable, but they're taking you in the direction you're supposed to go. But you got to get in contact with your guides. You got to be listening, because otherwise you're just down in the middle of a storm in a lake and you don't know which direction to go. And so connecting to them, they will, give you direction. Like, oh, these spiritual people, I don't get, like, why aren't you connecting to your spirits? Like, you got to connect to your spirit. Like, it's inside of you. Like, I don't know. It seems like, and it may be to you guys that I say this stuff, and I keep saying it, and you guys are doing all really good, and you're totally getting it because you hear me say it so many times, and then I keep saying it because I keep hearing these other people who don't hear me, and they're just, going around in circles. I don't know, are a lot of you guys struggling with the same things that I hear these other people struggling with? I don't know. All I can tell you is that the struggle is a part of it. It's a part of the motivation. It's a part of what is to create change. And so there's nothing wrong. The struggle is what you have to do to change. Everybody has to change. It's not like there wasn't people who were living right. Everybody was living wrong. Everybody, like, people had lost touch of their morals, and I don't know that everybody is going to get them back. And those people who, have completely lost touch of themselves and can't find their morals and can't figure themselves out and shit like that, they won't be going. You can't cross over. Like I said yesterday, like, you could be somebody who is directing your energy really good and healing and, trying to do better for yourself and listening, all of that stuff, and go into the age of Aquarius. Like, you don't have to be a super spirit to be in the age of Aquarius. It's going to be a very spiritual time. People are going to look at things differently, but there's not everybody's going to be super, super spiritual. But people will connect through their spirit. So it's going to be all levels. It's not like we're going to go into a world that's all full of just monks. We're all going to just be monks and try and, no, we're going to go into a period of time of appreciation of life, the gift of life, to understand it and to be more productive in it, and to have more respect for it and respect for others and others' experiences. So it's just this evolution, this connection to yourself. But, it's not, there's going to be confirmation. There's going to be all these people who are going to still be living, like what you think of like a three-dimensional kind of life. They're still going to be just trying to create a life and create an experience with their family and stuff. So it's not going to just be, every parent and every child and everybody's just, just focused on spirituality. I mean, there's going to be some homes, I'm sure, it's going to go back to a time where my stomach's growling. I think I'm going to make a cake this morning, though. I was really horrible. I know. I bought a cake mix. It was so poisonous. I got Stella some pumpkin because that's good for diarrhea and stuff. And but when you make a cake mix, if you just add a can of pumpkin and that to the cake mix, you don't add in eggs or fat or any of that stuff, just a can of pumpkin. And so it's I think it's even what is that called with the diet thing? What were they called? It's not called AA. There's one of those, though. I don't know. Maybe it's keto or something. There's some thing that pushes about that, but you can make the cake mix yourself. But that's where I keep having problems. But I looked up a bunch of different recipes yesterday, so I think I'm going to make one and try, just really follow someone's thing and see if it still comes out rubbery and weird texture. But this cake mix, yeah, I want to see, is it when I bake it, does it come out all rubbery and cake mixy or weird texture? So I want to see, does it turn into a cake and become fluffy? And but anyways, if you're trying to do one and cut out a lot of like fats and stuff like that, like pumpkin is, it's supposed to be better for you and not as bad for you, not as fattening and stuff. But still, cake mixes, they've got palm oil. No telling what all goddamn chemicals are in there. And my eyes aren't even good enough to be able to read all these fucking chemicals. And I did give Stella some of her medicine back. Now I'm thinking like maybe that is the culprit, is this hemp CBD stuff that I got off Amazon. There's been a couple times when I've gotten different bottles where chunks of something have come out. But you go down to the weed store and then you're spending a shit ton of money on it. And it's, it's human quality. And it's not hemp, it's THC. And so it costs way more. But there's a lot of different brands. So I may just check and switch brands. We just don't know who owns what and what they're putting out. And yeah, they want to fucking kill our animals. They want us depressed and sad. They want us to be stressed out. Oh yeah, so the Hawaiian thing with the pets. They call it something else. Like if you have a pet, it's your you're the kawa or something like that. And so you're the shepherd. You are the it's crazy because it's how I look at it. This is how I look at my relationship with Stella, is like what they were talking about. And that's why I keep saying people look at their pets in a different kind of way, because like I give respect to Stella. And when we go on a walk, this is her walk. This is what she wants to look at. This is what she wants to go and check on. And feeding her, making sure that she has nutritional food, making sure she has what she wants, not just, giving her pills. Like I have some of the antibiotic, but she can smell that shit. She'll smell it and she'll pull the pills out and toss them aside. And I got to respect that part of her. Like this has been a battle through years. So she's been, she got diagnosed at a year and a half. It could have even been just a year when she got diagnosed. It was when she was running and she started walking real weird. And so I took her in, and that's when we found out she had this hip dysplasia, she had arthritis, and then all the stuff that they would tell me to do. And so I just kept trying to do natural stuff, and then she would just get worse and worse. And then I didn't know, moving up here where we are, this moist coldness, it was so bad for arthritis and stuff. So it's, and then she had, I guess, a stroke or something last year. Like we've gone through a lot of shit on her health. And so, I am concerned about what I give her and stuff. And I know that the dog food is giving all the pets cancer. I know that's why all the pets are dying of cancer. But people don't stop and question. They just keep feeding them kibble. And they don't think about like, well, what should we do different? And, and it's not like feeding them our food is going to, because our food is killing people too. So, it's just all of this, to me, it's all of this, just its evolution of you looking at things and seeing things and noticing things and making decisions for yourself. And, what was I going to say? There was something that was like coming in. There's still this other thing that I forgot to say when it came in, and now I wanted to say it before I went. I can't remember what it was. But anyways, it is like for your pet to realize this is a soul. I am a shepherd. I am a connection. And then they even see it as, because it is you're connecting to this animal spirit that is a part of you. And that is what I feel all the time. Like we're so much more connected than what we realize. Like Stella's role throughout my different lives, she's played different roles, but it's like my spirit needs players in its storylines. And so there's so much more to our connection to the souls. Like because we can come out and identify ourselves as an independent thinker, but then there's also, we're so connected. Like all that time back when they showed me that one thing about the teapot. It's like the teapot broke, it fell on the ground, and this beautiful teapot just went into a million pieces. And all of the pieces forgot that they're the teapot. They all just think they're broken pieces. But when we go back together, we are all the teapot. But when we're away from the teapot, we just think we're broken pieces. And so it's all of this this learning and realizing, you're the teapot. You're a part of the teapot. You're not, there's nothing broken about you. You can go out into independent thought and go back, and all of these souls that are in your experience, it is it's a deeper connection. There's purpose in it all. There's no just accident. Oh, accidentally Stella ended up being my pet. Oh, what if I wouldn't have found her? What if this? What if that? What if I wouldn't have done this? What if I would have went right instead of left? People drive themselves crazy over stuff that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you went right, doesn't matter if you went left. What's supposed to happen is always going to happen. Doesn't matter which way you go, where you go, when you get there. Everything is going to happen exactly the way it's going to happen. You don't have control over what is going to happen. What you can control is your reaction, is your attitude, is how you see things, how you treat people. That is what you have control over. And this is giving you all these opportunities to see who you are. When things are hard, are you an asshole, or are you kind and caring and remembering everybody's struggling? Because everybody is struggling. Like, it's one place after another. This being knocked down, and then it's one video after another. People like, we're being destroyed. Somebody come and help us, help us, help us. And not realizing it's because all of you in that area have to come together and stand up against this beast that has been after you all the time. I'm not surprised at all that Louisiana is being attacked. Because of, like I said, it was indigenous people down there, like the Cajun people. There's all these different people who they try and tell us like these are Americans, these Appalachian mountain people. I think those Appalachian mountain people were there before they claimed this place to be America. There's people who are already leaving and going into other places. They keep trying to tell us that they discovered America. You didn't fucking discover America. You came to a place that there was a bunch of people living there, and you tried to take it over and tried to claim it as your own. And you massacred people in order to do that. And then you brought in fucking orphans to control it from the inside. It's all manufactured. It's all manipulated. So, the mountain people, it's not any surprise they're under attack. The Cajun people, it's not any surprise they're under attack. The different indigenous, all different colors of people, no matter the tone of their skin, they all go back to the, some tribe. They're a lot closer to a tribe than like an Englishman to his tribe. Like his tribe, he'd have to go far back to figure out where he comes from. But the people who are, and still we don't know, like there's just weird things about this whole thing with color and control. And so, this, just this constant attack on these people. But the whole reason to me why they're being attacked is because they're natural beings. They have a natural connection. Just like I said, the animals are more in sync. The people who are more in there's just a deeper connection. There's something deeper that they're connected to through their blood and heritage and stuff. And it's the connection to who they are in this place, in the spirit of the land and stuff. That's what they're trying to disrupt. They're trying to, because they just want us to all live in a concrete jungle that they're in control of, and all of us just to be happy to get a couple worms a day and, you know, go out there and entertain them with our anger and our perversion and all of that stuff. And so, but each person, you know, has got to reel it in and start seeing the part they play. What are you supporting out there in this world? And as the world blows up, all of the parts that you played are going to be being highlighted to you. And so it's up to each person, though, to process through it. You know, you got to learn not to judge yourself. You got to learn not to feel stupid and idiotic. And realize that, you know, ignorance is just the dark. You know, you don't see what you don't see because they keep you in the dark. And so don't, I just feel like people all just turn it on themselves. They all just feel bad about themselves. It's just this nonstop. And that is so much in the programming. You're programmed to just feel like shit about yourself all the time. You got to want better for yourself. And there's a whole way of controlling your life. How you look at it is how you deal with the things that happen. It can change changing your attitude can change your whole experience. And so, you know, Stella's on the move. And maybe I'll come back and say something once I finish this. Maybe I'll remember what it was I was going to say. There's just a lot of different things to look at. Like, whatever you're looking at, you know, always try and see the other side. Like, there's so many people I don't think that understand about this whole thing going on with Trump. Oh, yeah, the BRICS nation and the thing. Because the whole thing with the Nasara Gassara, you know, is to get us off of this fake-ass, counterfeit, fucking SWIFT system money thing that they profit, and we are destitute. Is so that has to crash. They have to go back to the gold standard where it actually, we have something. They can't just play this game, taking and taking and taking from us. So the gold standard is where we want to go. These people, they've got it all so twisted. Like, they're fighting against it. Oh my God, we don't want the BRICS. Oh my God, you guys, we got to keep away. We're going to be in digital currency. Oh God, how they twist things around. Like, it's fucking insane. People do things that are bad for them and they think it's good for them. They fight against the things that are good for them because they think it's going to be bad for them. It's like, what is your inside saying? What is your common sense saying? What is your logic saying? Are you just on autopilot? Are you just reacting as everything is coming, and are you stopping and thinking through anything? As the gold standard, like I said, I thought we were going to go to Nasara first. I thought it was going to start here, and then it was going to go to the other countries. I did not know it was going to go in all the other countries, and we'd be the last. Yeah, and the last with us, I think you got to combine Australia and England in with us. Something about this trifecta or something, like Australia and England, and even though their main source, their main buildings and stuff is in Switzerland, like the deep state, like their meeting place, but the places that they have a strong hold over, you know, where they've really created a certain group of people. Like, even like, I mean, most of us, I think, know when they went in to take over Australia, this beautiful island that was full of all of those indigenous people, they took a bunch of criminals there, just like they did in all the other places. They took criminals there and then a bunch of hoity-toity aristocrats, because they're setting the stage. They're setting the tone. They're getting the people who are going to be in charge, and then they're getting the people who are going to struggle and bring down society. So they set it up. And so, you know, I don't know all the different stuff with all of the whole thing with England and stuff, but I mean, that's where the royals, yeah, they were a big figurehead. The royals, you know, we were under the crown, even though we all thought we weren't, but we were. All of our taxes were being funneled right back there. It's so absurd. There's so much bullshit and lies. But anyways, so the money going there, what they're doing right now is all of them are going on the gold standard. So all of them have they've gotten the deep state out of their countries. They've shut down the banks. they've gotten rid of these people. But they've got a strong hold in some places like here and stuff. But then a part of their hold is this, why they keep messing up is because like it's all middle management trying to make big decisions, and they don't know because the people at the top have been taken down. And so it's a big old clusterfuck what we're going on. And so the BRICS nation thing, they're pushing in from the other direction. So they're pushing so that we have to collapse, so that it's good for us. Not good for the bankers, but it's good for us. Is then when they crash us. But these people who are panicking now, like, oh, you got to stop the strike. They're going to crash the economy. Don't cry. Don't. Everyone was trying to hold on to it. It's like, you guys, please keep my chains on me. Don't let me go. I want to stay chained. It's like, oh my God, you guys. It's called digital currency because it's going to be the quantum, but you can't have whatever amount of money you have, quantum, in your account that you can shift around and buy things online or quantumly, whatever it's, I think it's going to be like how you would buy a house. You wouldn't just go and take a whole bunch of gold. I mean, you could do whatever you're going to do. I could go take some silver and just buy a house from somebody straight up. But then what are they going to do with the silver? They're going to probably take it down to a redemption center. They're going to have their silver put into their account, and then their quantum amount will go up to how many ounces of silver they had. So it's not this, well, if you go and you eat your worms and you take these and you wear this, then we'll give you enough credits to buy dinner. It's not going to be like that. No, it's going to be different, but there's a lot of stuff where people got to start wrapping their heads around the understanding of currency and money and exchange. And so there's big changes because we've been under this influence that was all to enslave us. And so them pushing, though, the way they're pushing, if they collapse it the way that they're trying, and then make it to where Americans can't buy anything. So we have no way to trade. We're too poor. We can't buy shit. And everything that we need comes from somewhere else. And so we can't buy anything. So I don't know how long they're going to, if this is going to be an impact thing, or if it's going to drag out so you get to really feel like, oh, this is bad. I don't know. Hopefully it's going to be, kind of fast, where Joe is going to, I don't know, fall asleep on stage and the whole thing's going to crash, and then they're going to have to, oh, look what he did. Oh. They're making it set up that he's doing all this. He's doing it all. So, laundering money, like the whole thing, he's creating the crash. It's how it will turn out, But so it is, while that is all crashing it, like hopefully that it will go quick, and then Trump will dash in to rescue us, or the military or something. And the whole thing is see, it's about the impact of the awakening. So it's hard for me to imagine that it's going to be like, it would be like grounding somebody for 5 minutes and then saying, okay, you learned your lesson. It's like things all have to be very impactful, and you still have people who mark themselves as spiritual just out there falling apart and not seeing, like, you're being redirected. And then when you have these people who are sitting there saying redirected, they're making like a joke, like, okay, so, I'm sure now you are understanding you're upside down, you're in a completely, all this stuff. And it's like, I don't know, maybe there is a ton of people who are all of a sudden realizing they're upside down. Maybe they're, like, to me, like, I keep saying everything's just become disjointed, like, from day to day. Like, I can't look back and go like, yesterday, blah, 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 because I can't tell if that was yesterday or was 2 days ago. Was it last week? Like, I can't, it's all just things happening. It's just stuff happening. And it's what I pay attention to. It just feels very chaotic, and I feel very disconnected. from myself and stuff. So, and but yeah, what they showed me is the waves coming in. And like on my YouTube channel, like this wave will come in and then all these people and it will go. But every time it's like the censorship stops it. And then it goes through this period, but then it comes, another wave comes in and it's getting so close to 1,000. And I don't even know what that's going to mean when it gets to 1,000. I know I'm way over on the views of what they say of this monetizing, which I don't even know. Like, I know the TikTok monetizing thing is a big old scam. I don't know this whole thing with the YouTube thing. Like, it's not why I started it. It wasn't like I started it because, you know, I want to become YouTube famous and be monetized. I started it because they were relentlessly telling me that I needed to get up and talk about the shit that they were telling me to talk about. And so it's more of a compelled, but they are always showing me and telling me things and stuff throughout it while I'm questioning things. So it's different motivation, a different purpose, but uh, I don't know if like there's gonna be more people that can access my stuff or it releases more. Like, I don't know, but it seems like that they just keep pulling it back in, pulling it back in. You know, just like that lady said, they knew when she was promoting what they wanted to promote, they were just pushing her videos through. She'd get 1 million fucking views. And then all of a sudden when she said something different, then all of a sudden the videos were being taken down. She was not getting any views. And all these different people that go and try and get monetized on TikTok and go through, because they send me shit all the time. They're constantly trying to get me to do it. I just ignore their shit. I know it's a scam. I know it's fucking, TikTok is like a fucking sales. So everything is about sales. It's so absurd. But and how many of these people want to be involved in it? But all these people who think they're going to get monetized for their videos, and then they go and get it all set up, and then their videos all start getting taken down. They start getting no views. Like somebody who said that they were getting like over 1 million views on a video. As soon as they got monetized, all of a sudden it went to 1,000, 100, no views, videos being taken down all the time. So it's all a scam. It's just a big fat scam. And then I think that they are trying to get some of the people to jump on. These people are like, well, I want to be monetized and I'm spreading all this information and all this stuff. And so it's a way that they get you in there so they can control you. They can shut your information down. So I don't play that. Homie, don't play that. And I'm not playing, you know, I'm even when they want, you know, because I would get really bummed out. Like every time a wave would come in and I would feel like, oh, good, things are starting to pick up, things are releasing, we're starting to get movement. And then it would just dead stop again. And then I would be like, what the fuck? And it would get, but that's where they showed me now. It's just like it's a wave. It's these energetic waves that keep coming in. And so you'll have a wave of change, and then you may go into a space of like, you know, getting what is that called? Like getting your footing. Like if you're on a boat and the waves come, you know, and then you got to get your equilibrium. And so then another wave comes and you got to get your sails stable. And another wave comes. And then it's going to be like the waves are going to keep coming. These waves of change. These waves to turn you in another direction. But you have to be willing to turn. You can't be standing there rigidly stuck in what you used to be, who you used to be, and where you want to stay. You have to be open. And, you know, there's more people showing about this map thing. And more people are starting to recognize what is going on and stuff. And so when you look at the map of the safe zones, that's where I feel so certain. We're going to go through some horrible shit. Like I'm really, like I have said for a long while, I feel like California is going to be our big tragedy. Like when you think Hawaii is, but then Hawaii was kind of just to let us know that they're stealing land from indigenous people. They're fucking stealing it from them. So that was like a different lesson, a different eye-opening. But and it's very traumatic. Like I bet your ass that there's 3,000 or whatever, 1,000 kids missing out of these classes. That's not counting babies. That's not counting parents. That's not counting grandparents. That's not counting aunts and uncles. A lot of people who are indigenous and other cultures have, whole families living together. Like you live together with your grandparents, and you may have an aunt or an uncle that is staying there too. It's they don't look at it the same as like how we look at it. It is a way more of a different kind of way of looking at things. So some of those homes could have had. I mean, I heard that one person said they lost 10 family members while they're trying to push 100 people died. I'm like, no, it's definitely a lot of people, and they're hiding it. And who knows what this whole story is on the FEMA. FEMA is really, the whole thing is just to get us to realize FEMA is one of their agencies. It's an agency of control. It's not one that we want to be involved with. And oh yeah, because to me, California, I just feel like when you look at that map and you see how devastated this coastline is where I'm at, the West Coast, when you look at it and see how, like, there's a lot of things, like, Louisiana is going to be gone. A lot of parts of Florida. I'm not even sure of all the different parts over on the East Coast of this, the coastal towns, how far up it will go. But on the West Coast, it's fucking way different. Like it's fucking half the country's gone. So that is what I keep thinking, is that we're going to have some big bad thing. And each of the storms that roll in, confirmation, each of these storms that roll in, then it's like, fuck, is this the one? Is this the one? But it seems like it all is just this creating this unstable. Like, don't forget how they've been working on us our whole fucking lives. And they were working on our grandparents and our great-grandparents before that to prepare for this time. So they've always got the end game. And so them to keep making it unstable. And who knows underground what they're doing. I mean, they could be going in with submarines. There was places that were saying there were submarines off the West Coast. They're going in with submarines, and they're, doing things to the plates. And then up above, they're getting all this water, just creating this instability. And that's what's going to ultimately end up taking it off, that we're going to find out it was a government attack. Like, I don't know. I have no idea. But it sure seems like that this, whatever's going to happen on the West Coast is what's going to be the huge thing in America to make this huge change. But, just keep in mind everything that is going on. They can't just rush in and make the good part come in right away. Like, we got to go through the bad part. We got to go through the part where people have to have the loss. They've got to go through what they lose, because that is what opens their spirit. It's what opens them up to receive, is this extreme loss. And but you can't get stuck in your loss. You can't get stuck in your pain and suffering. You have to want better for yourself. You have to understand you can make better for yourself. And so, if the money thing doesn't just switch real quick, if we do have to go through, I don't think that they would do it for like a year. I would think maybe a couple weeks or something. Fuck. If they did it for very long, oh my gosh. Like the inner city, like there's going to be some places that are going to be so fucking horrible. Because of the no resources, no money and shit. Like, fuck. This is going to be something if that's how they crash, if that's how it goes. And there's no way to know. I mean, they could crash it, Joe go down at the same time, Trump come in, and they're going to rescue everybody. And maybe we've gone through enough trauma, and they're going to say, we're switching over to the gold standard, but it's going to take a while. Like, I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to play out, but I know where we end up is in a space of freedom. Where we end up is, different landscape on the planet. Like, we're going to be in different areas. We're going to be building up communities in different areas. Like, where all these people keep getting so sad because whole places are being destroyed and stuff. It's like, a lot of these places are going to be gone. Like, we're not going to be in those places anymore. We're going to be in other areas. We're going to be moving around. Like, we're going to be nomadic. It will be a time where all the people move to different areas, And as this happened throughout the time on this planet, that's why all this shifting and stuff has been used against us to create, so we don't understand our true history. And so it's all used in manipulation. But there's going to be this nomadic time again where everybody shifts around. And that's why I keep thinking that these freedom cities, that they're going to just start offering things in order to be the lure to pull people in, because that lure has worked on us for so long. But this time it's not going to be to destroy you. It's going to be it's the opposite, to help you build yourself back up. Nobody's going to come in and build you up. You have the opportunity to build yourself back up. And so that's when I think they're going to start giving away tons of land. They'll start, over here, we want to have 5 acres, come here, we want to build communities. They'll have some community leaders where it's going to be regular citizens are going to be stepping into places. Like, it's gonna be really cool. And the whole thing with money, like, you're not going to have to go and work like you were. It's going to be such a huge change in the world. And so it's going to be really good, but we have to reconnect to the world in a different place. We're disconnected. Even though all these people seem so 3D and stuff, they're disconnected from real life, from natural, from nature, from who they are to their core. So that is what, this is a reconnection to yourself, to, spirit, to all of these different things, because it changes your life. It changes everything. It's going to change the planet. So anyways, the way you get all these different people saying all these different things, just don't go in and just believe automatically because this person's saying, oh my God, Bricks, it's going to be this. We got to fear it. We don't want this. No, we want that. We want the gold standard. 100%. We want back on the gold standard. We want the dollar to crash. We want it to go away. It's done. And we want to go back to, having real things. So anyways, hopefully this is making sense what I'm saying. But man, it's just so crazy when I see these people, and the people who have a big following, and then they've led them in the wrong way, and then they're panicking, like, don't go this way, turn, and that is for that person, that is lessons. There's everything is lessons. Everything is about what you're learning. So don't focus on everybody else's lessons. Focus on yours, because they're there. Everything. Like that girl who's out there crying, she lost her job. She knows she's got something bigger, more important to do, because your soul's telling you we're in a time of change. You've got something bigger and more important to do than to go down and work at the Buck and Hallmark store. Yeah, way more important. I mean, you have to realize your importance. You have to step into it. You have to step into trust. It's a change. It's a changing into your spirit side, not this other dependent side. So anyways, I've been talking a long time now, so I'll go ahead and get this downloaded. And everybody have a good day. And just keep just questioning things. Just question everything. Question the shit I say. If there's something I say and you're like, go look it up. Go look stuff up. Go look up about the money stuff. And you got to be careful, because there's some people who do not see it. There's so many people who do not see what's going on, and they think that they see, and they do not see. So once you start looking at something, don't just go with the first person. Like, there's you got to start really trying to understand, really looking into things, and it's all. And your experience, like, we all have a different viewfinder. All of us have a different experience that we're supposed to be experiencing. So that's why we can't just share our perspective and then somebody go like, oh, that just changed my whole life. Now I see exactly. No, it's not supposed to be that way. So anyways, I will talk to you later.